Hello and welcome back to Dark Souls 1. Now this is part 4 of our whip run. And this part's going to be a little disconjointed, but last time we got 24 fireballs, we got the notched whip, we got the blood shield, we met a new NPC in Quelana, which was nice. And we also got a few nice rings. Like steel protection, flame stone plate, slumbering dragon crest, rusted iron. We got some pretty good stuff. And we also got the ability to warp, which was very nice. And this time I felt like this was going to be a bit slower, but I wanted to get more pyromancies. And I also wanted to get the very large ember, which... Hello, Mr. Sorcery version of me. How you doing? Oh, he's got like a dagger. That's pretty cool.
Well,
and thank you for the key to the seal. And at this point, I remembered, like, don't you sell something? And yes, he sells transient curse and resist curse, which is a sorcery, which I didn't care about, so I moved on. And in moving on, we open the door with the key, and we push the lever to open the Giga door, which somehow all that water doesn't wash away those things. Don't know why. And also we get some weird camera work. I don't know why that happens. It's like only some of them do it, but the ones that do it every single time, which is super weird. But it was right about here that I remembered, oh yeah, the dark raids are weak to being parried, and the whip can't parry, so take note that took one swing. We're gonna count this. 2 swings. This will be important, I promise. 3 swings, and 4 swings, and 5 swings, and 6 swings. So, just take note of that. It took 6 swings to kill them. We will be coming back to that before too long. But after getting through 4 enemies, well, after killing 3, the 4th pushed us back here, which I got a little arrogant and didn't fully heal and then mistimed to parry, and they took half our health, which, mind you, we have the wolf ring, which gives us 40 poise, but that's still not enough because that 1-2 swing combo, if the first one hits you, the second one is guaranteed to hit you. You can't roll out of it. Not even with 40 poise, but let's run it back. Try again. Which, on coming back, I decided to take the first elevator. Because, hitbox moment. Because I was mostly here for the very large ember. At least for now. And I decided that we could probably just take the first elevator and sneak on by. Because even if I die again, oh well, at least I could get the ember. And like, if I lose my souls, oh well. It kinda sucks, but we can just move on. Now here, I realized, oh, it spat one of those things out, and now it's moving towards the doorway that I went through. So this thing is definitely aggroed onto me. And I'm gonna have to go through here anyway, so I might as well just kill it now. And I have a ranged option. And we went one too far. And then I didn't swap weapons. But eventually we got there. And I started throwing some fireballs. Which, if it works, it works. This isn't something I tend or have been doing on the previous runs, but on a normal run, this is something that I do. Like, have a ranged option. Because it is quite good to have at least one ranged option, just for more versatility. But we take them out, and we head up to the chest to get the very large ember, which, in order to make use of the very large ember, you need titanite chunks. And on my first run through here, I killed 3 dark rays before dying. Didn't get a single chunk. Here, I'm not going to show all of it, but I killed all of them, which there's, I think, like 8 or so. Didn't get a single chunk, which, oof, that kind of sucks, but oh well. But eventually we got through that room, and we moved forward, and I realized that I can use the heavy attacks, which, if you count them, 1, 2, and then 3, and then we started getting hit, which, that right there is something important. On the analog stick, I was moving back and slightly right, but I rolled left. Take note of that, because that's something that happens a lot in Dark Souls 1, and only Dark Souls 1, is when you roll when locked on, especially after getting hit, rolling is very much a gamble, because you can roll in any of the 4 directions you're allowed to roll. I've straight up had times where I've been holding backwards, pressed the roll button while holding backwards, and rolled directly into the enemy. Like, I was holding backwards, pressed roll, and rolled forwards. I don't know why. Like, I don't know for sure why. I'm blaming it on the no diagonal rolling thing. The reason being is because I have this problem in Dark Souls 1 where you can't roll diagonally. But in Bloodborne, you can roll diagonally. Don't have this problem. In Dark Souls 3, you can roll diagonally. Don't have this problem. In Elden Ring, you can roll diagonally. Don't have this problem. So, we're gonna see with Dark Souls 2 when I eventually play that. But right now it's only a Dark Souls 1 issue. But here, I was getting more used to the heavy attacks, and if you count them, 1, 2, last enemy, it got kind of interrupted, but here, we did it in 4 compared to 6. And also, this threw me off. The heavy has a follow-up. I hadn't used the one-handed heavy. I'd only used the two-handed heavy, which doesn't have a follow-up. Because, like, the one-handed heavy is basically just, like, the same motion, or very similar motion to the light attack. But it has a follow-up. You learn something new every day, I suppose. But we move on. We finish that section. We get out of there. We give Andre the very large ember. And now we can get the whip. So upgrades, which 8 base, 8 additional. That's 16 damage. And then another upgrade, 8 base, 5 additional. So that's 13 damage on paper. Again, I'm doing this off the top of my head, so sorry if these are wrong. But another 8 base, 5 additional, so that's another 13 damage. And we need 2 more Titanite chunks to get the next upgrade. Which, again, I killed like 11 dark raids, and I got 0 drops. Which, that kind of sucks. a measly 2 drops, and it would have been fine. But we go back. We talk to Mr. Mopey. And I sat down just so that way we'd respawn here if we died. And we're just gonna let this kind of play itself out. Because this kind of threw me off. And by this, there are 2 things. I'm gonna point both out as they happen. But since we killed 11 enemies with 0 drops, I decided to move over to the Covetous Gold Ring for a higher chance to get some chunks. Because I didn't want to go through and take out the entire area again and not get any drops again. But we head on down. Mind you, we haven't reloaded the game. We haven't teleported or anything like that. But this guy somehow got down here before us. Even though, again, we didn't teleport, and he was there. So we had a head start on him, but he still got here before us. Which is super weird, and I don't know how he did that. But eventually, with a bit of being smacked around, eventually we kill him. But also, this thing. This thing was behind us. I want you to look at the back left, like the bottom left corner. This thing isn't even on our screen. And yet we still lock onto it. Why? Not even on the screen. But we press lock on and it shoots over to it. It's behind us, not aggroed onto us. Not even on screen. Why does the game automatically lock onto the enemy behind us, not aggroed onto us, before the enemy that is in front of us, on our screen, and aggroed onto us? This is why I want a Dark Souls 1 remake. To clear up some of these weird, wacky, janky, very unnatural, just like weird little aspects to Dark Souls 1. Because the game could be so much better. It's not bad, but it could be so much better. But now with our upgrades, 1, 2, and then 3 with the follow-up. Remember, it now takes 2 parries, and so it used to take 6 attacks with 5 parries, but now with a plus 13 whip, with 12 strength and 30 dex, we can 3-shot them with just a parry, a heavy, a parry, a heavy, and a follow-up. Just 2 parries now. Remember, it took 5 before. So just 3 upgrades and just a tiny bit of knowledge can get you so far. But we head on back once we get the chunks, and 8 base, 10 additional. That's 18 damage. And that takes 3 chunks. And also our dex scaling goes from B to A, which is nice. But here, 8 base, 5 additional. That's 13. Notice how this takes a slab, a much, much rarer resource, but it gives us a lower damage increase. That's something I noticed a lot. 13 to 14 almost always it gives you a higher damage increase than 14 to 15, which is super weird, but will take a damage increase. And with that, we get the whip to plus 15. And since we have the souls, I buy 2 Titanite shards, and we upgrade the blood shield from 53 to 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. So that's an increase of 5. And we don't have any large Titanite shards, so we can't get it to +6 yet. But, oh well. And at this point, this is when I wanted to focus more on Pyromancies and getting more souls and getting more Pyromancies to have an expanded repertoire and to just not have to worry about it. So we come down to Quelana.
Ah, there you are. I was expecting you. Let us begin.
You were probably expecting me because I was standing here for like a minute before actually recording. So I would hope that you'd be expecting me. But I was looking at these and wondering what I should get.
The Witch of Izalith. Please, do not speak of her. I abandoned my mother and sisters and fled to this land. Now I roam these parts, feigning ablution and pretending to seek answers.
What does ablution mean?
Pyromancy is the art of invoking and
We've heard that. Yeah. So I figured we can just upgrade this because
Pyromancy is...
I don't really care too much about
Now go, whatever you do.
anything we could buy.
Go hollow, lest my time spent on you be wasted.
I figured it'd be better to get a damage increase. But from here, I decided to go grind some souls, which we got a Titanite slab, which was very surprising to me. But hey, I'll take it. Thank you. And grinding is a bit time consuming, so we decided to test something. 170 damage. Take note of that. And also, that's 3, and then they decided to shield, because, yeah, and then 4. So, we're doing 170 damage, and it takes 4 hits. And I wanted to see, what does Power Within do? It brings us from 170 to 239. That's an increase of 69 damage. And also, it goes from a 4-shot to a 3-shot. So I was thinking, okay, from 170 to 239, that moves a breakpoint from a 4-shot to a 3-shot, for that enemy at least. So that's kinda nice. I can definitely see the use there. And I was hoping that sitting at the bonfire would get rid of this, but it didn't. And so we're just losing health while sitting at a bonfire. And this took over a minute, and I lost patience and exited the game. And so we came back after exiting the game, and I decided to use this and just stand here just to see how much damage it did. And eventually, after waiting for like a minute and a half, our health went into the double digits. And I felt like I was gonna die, so I had to pop an Estus. And we went from 1,100 to 611. And that was after an Estus sip. Which means this thing took our entire health bar. Again, for a 69 damage increase. That's not a lot. Not for the health that it takes. And I had also tried Acid Surge on one of the snake men. One of the man serpents. And it didn't really seem like it did anything. Which, it says acid which corrodes weapons and armor. So I think it may just be like a PvP thing. But, so I'm not gonna use that. But Power Within, it says short strength / endurance boost, but lose HP. I can see the idea of like gaining strength and endurance, or like gaining damage at the cost of health. But the damage increase just wasn't good enough to justify how much health it ate up. So for people doing like a speed run where they're so good that they just never get hit and they can do a no-hit run constantly, like, I can see them using it, but for like a normal player, it just didn't seem, it seemed like the cost was too high. But I decided to use Fire Surge since I had it, which didn't do great, but it did okay. It took most of their health, and I was able to walk around while still using it, so I can, probably not going to use it, but I can see why. But we came back down and we got another Titanite slab, which was really cool. Thank you for that. But coming back up, once we got 377,000 souls, we decided to talk.
Oh, well, as always.
Which we had enough souls to just buy everything without needing to worry. And I figured we probably have enough souls to fully upgrade our Pyromancy flame as well. So we got that to plus 15. So nothing to do but talk.
My teacher, whom I imagine still resides in the Great Swamp, had a funny way of putting it. He said that pyromancy is the ultimate fantasy. We are born into dark and warmed by fire, but this fire we cannot touch. Those whose fascination with fire persists learn to hold it in their own hand. He rather had a way with words, the old withering frog.
Frog? Your master was a frog? I'm sorry, what?
In this land, pyromancers earn a certain respect. The Witch of Izalith, one of the legendary lords, is the godmother of pyromancy. So the day I became undead, I was ecstatic. I felt as if I'd been chosen to attune myself to the ancient arts. Of course, it wasn't all that romantic in the end.
Rarely is, my friend. I'm sorry.
A pyromancer's flame is a part of his... The flame... Oh, sorry. You're a pyromancer yourself. You already know this.
A fully fledged pyromancer, too.
Goodbye, then. Come back if you find anything new.
Not really new, but I found Quelana. That's pretty cool. He doesn't care about that, though, apparently. But heading on off because there's still more pyromancies to buy. Like Poison Mist.
Below us lies the ruins of the legendary city of Izalith. There, the molten giant watches over the flame of chaos. Our fair lady and Mistress Quelag fled from the ruins. I do not know the details, and I do not ask. Worse than undead, and swallowed.
Alright, well, no weapons for Ascension. We bought all of your Pyromancies, so moving on to Quelana. Which, trying to talk to Quelana kind of sucks, because every single time, these little mosquito things show up. And even if you kill them, another, like, 10 show up, which is kind of a pain. And so, I found that the best way to deal with them is just to quit the game. But also, hi.
Ah, it has been some time. Truth be told, I thought you had perished.
I have. I did, like, 12 times. But decided to just, again, hundreds of thousands of souls from grinding. I don't have an issue. This is not an addiction. I'm totally fine. But we bought all of her pyromancies as well. And we upgrade the pyromancy flame plus 15 to the pyromancy flame. Which, it has a different little image for the box. And here, it goes from B to A intelligence scaling. I don't think that does anything. If it does, I am missing out on a ton of damage, but our damage seems fine. Which, after all the grinding, I thought I had enough, but I was short by
Now
2k,
go. Whatever. Yes.
which was a little bit of an oof, but it's okay, because we had poppable souls, so we got it.
Ah, I was
And no items to purchase. And with 40k, we can get the final upgrade. So we got the Pyromancy Flame plus 5. No weapons to ascend. No items to purchase. Nothing to do but talk.
I have a favor to ask. My mother, the Witch of Izalith, was one of the primeval lords. Her power came from the soul that she found near the first flame. She focused this power to light a flame of her own. But she failed to control it. The flame of chaos engulfed Mother and my sisters and molded them into deformed creatures. Only I escaped. And now I am here. But my mother and sisters have been in anguish since. I beseech you, free Mother and my sisters from the flame of chaos. I cannot do it myself. I lack the strength and the bravery. But you, I realize what I am asking. But please, free their poor souls. Mother's ambitions were misguided, no doubt. But surely 1,000 years of atonement is enough.
I'll do it, but only if I get to put her soul in a giant bowl and use it to open a door to kill a guy. Deal?
I have a favor to my mother. Her only, but my mother, I cannot. But you, Mother's no luck. Well, young pupil, you must have patience, but do not keep me waiting much longer.
I didn't even get a chance to walk 2 steps and you're already telling me... Like, come on. You have a bit of patience. I promise I'll get it done. An hour and 20 minutes max, okay? Normally I go and kill Seath first, but because you've been cool, because you're helping me out with these pyromancies, I'll do this. But again, you gotta give me a little time, because I only have like 22 endurance, so I can't run very far. But I promise I'll do it. I just have to get there first, okay? But we get back here, and we have 20 humanity, 5 twin humanities, which equals up to 30. I did not plan this, but we had just perfectly enough. Which, I probably should have done this before, because there's no cost to it. But we enter the Covenant, and that gets us a Pyromancy. Great Chaos Fireball. And then dropping 30 humanity gets us another Pyromancy in Chaos Storm, which now we can leave. Which bonfire? I don't know why, but the one side of this bonfire does not like being sit at. It's very strange. But anyway, moving on. Now, this part of the playthrough, I always complain about how these things die in 2 hits, but this time it didn't, which was nice. I like seeing these things have health, because as a boss, they kind of suck, but here, where there's open space and not 2 dogs, they're really nice to fight. But in most of my runs, they die in 2 hits, which really sucks. But the whip, mixed with us not leveling either of our damage stats very much, led to them surviving a bit. So, that was nice. I like that. I can wish that Dark Souls 1 got a remake just to bolster a lot of things, like giving them more health. But last run, we went up this run we're going down because, again, I avoided this thing last run because we had no range, but here we do have range, and this is probably the most significant range damage we've had in any of our Dark Souls 1 runs, and it trivialized this fight. Like, in most of my runs, I do mostly melee, or at least most of the Dark Souls 1 runs so far have been mostly melee, and I've kind of feared this thing. It's like, maybe I'd have Toxic Mist and that could help, but it was a complete joke this time around. But, continuing on, these things, it took 3 swings one-handed, but 2 swings two-handed, and because Capra Demon took 5 swings, I did not have confidence in the ability for the whip to take that thing out. So I didn't. I just ran past it. And 10 Estus, so take note of that. And with that being said, I will let this attempt play itself out. We were a lot more focused on trying to count how many times they did that weird anime side slash attack that they overly use way too much, and less focused on actually dodging, which got us a lot of hits. But anyways, we beat him with the whip plus 15, Pyromancy Flame plus 5, Blood Shield plus 5 that we didn't use, Crimson Set, Ring of Steel Protection, Wolf Ring, 4 Sips to the Estus, and Fireball and Toxic Mist. Which, Toxic Mist actually got the final blow, which was funny, but beat him at level 60 with 30 Vitality, 22 Endurance, 30 Dexterity, 15 Resistance, and we beat him first try. And from here, I figured we have a lot of Pyromancies that we just got, And here are some pretty easy, basic enemies that are very easy to kill and aren't much of a threat. And they're right next to a bonfire, so why don't we try some of our new Pyromancies, which 75, 76 damage for what we already have, and then 117, and then 190. And I wanted to test what the 190 did, and it's so very close to a one-shot, which sucked, because this is a fully upgraded, ascended Pyromancy flame. Like, it'd be cool if it one-shot these fairly basic enemies, but those hits were on me, because this went very slow, and I very much underestimated that. But I saw that and went, well, it's slow, but that did good damage, you know, it one-shot. And then I realized it has 20 uses, and using it once uses 17 of those. So you only really get one use out of that thing. Which, kinda not great, but next batch of Pyromancies, you got Chaos Storm, which does good damage and leaves these little lava pools. But it has the same problem as Firestorm of you only get one full use out of it. But then you got Great Chaos Fireball, which does basically the same thing as the 190, except it looks different, the little image. You know, it's more red than orange, and it looks kind of cool. And it leaves behind these little lava pools, which, after a slight delay, it damages something, which was able to kill the first one in a single use. Which, you might think, oh, well, you know, that's pretty good. It does the same amount of initial damage, but it leaves a lava pool. But it also takes 2 slots, whereas Great Fireball, the 190, only takes 1. So they do the same amount of damage, but Great Chaos Fireball just takes an extra slot. And, like, yeah, it leaves a little lava pool, but unless something basically just stands still for a full, like, second or two, it doesn't really do anything, meaning normal Great Fireball kinda better. Although, you get Great Chaos Fireball for free, and Great Fireball's like 20k, I think, so that kind of complicates things, but Combustion, 60 damage, not really good, especially since it's a melee range thing. Great Combustion, 111, which is better, but then there's Fire Whip, which does pretty decent damage. It does more damage than Fire Orb, and it hits twice. And so I kind of thought of Fire Whip, because if you look, it takes a lot of uses per, like, one single cast. And so I basically thought of Fire Whip as just like Firestorm, but faster and infinitely more consistent. And here I almost got stun locked to death, which was a little scary, but you know, one potential death is worth it for knowledge. And here, I just killed him with a whip, and I came back down and tried Undead Rapport again, and I don't know if it, like, only works on undead enemies, and those aren't undead enemies, or what's going on there, but it didn't seem like it worked. At least on those guys, which kind of sucked. But I wasn't super confident heading into Centipede Demon with our current defense. So I had a Twinkling Titanite. And I went, well, that's enough for me to get the entire set to +2. So I'm going to do that. And, again, with defense, there's a lot of numbers. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to show them in case you care about it. So you can pause and see what all the numbers are if you care about those details. But we get the Crimson set to +2. That'll hopefully help our damage. And from here, I went back. I got this open because a lot better to go this way to get the Sunlight Helm rather than to run all the way across the bridge and try to get past the Demon Titanite, because that's no good. And I figured, since we're here, we might as well just kill this thing. The little crystal lizard. Because it gives 2 Twinkling Titanite. And we need Twinkling Titanite for our armor set. And besides, it'll save Solaire. But we head on back. We have 10 Estus. So take note of that. And with that being said, I will let this attempt play itself out. We did not have the best RNG with that, but it's fine. It worked out for the most part, right? I don't think Great Fireball did anything. Like, I think they were just immune to it or something, but we beat him with the Whip +15, Pyromancy Flame +5, even though it didn't do anything, Crimson Set +2, Chloranthy Ring, Wolf Ring, 3 sips of the Estus, And we beat him at level 62 with 30 vitality, 22 endurance, 30 dexterity, and 15 resistance. And 18 attunement, if that means anything. But we beat him first try as well. And with that being said, we can put on that ring and head on off. Which, moving to 19 attunement, we get a 5th slot, which took a little... It took a few more attunement levels. It took like 3 instead of the normal 2, I think. But having gotten 5, we can now have a lot more pyromancies. 16 fireballs, 12 fire orbs, 4 great fireballs, which is nice. And moving on forward, we see some classic, truly classic Dark Souls 1 pathing. Truly classic Dark Souls 1 pathing. Wouldn't be the same without it. I mean, honestly, really, truly. Like, I really wish Dark Souls 1 got a remake just to smooth out some things like that. Like some of the jankiness, some of the weird pathing, stuff like that. But moving on, we get near the end of the area, and there's a Pyromancer. And we kind of bully them. Feel kind of bad for that. But they drop a catalyst, which is strange. It's like they're a pyromancer using pyromancies. You could see a pyromancer flame in their hand, but they drop a catalyst? That's strange. That's a choice, I suppose. But protected by that thing in a chest is the Pyromancy Chaos Fire Whip, which here I wanted to check and see how many pyromancies we had, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We have 18 unique pyromancies, which I believe there are 20 in the game total. Like 19 for the quote-unquote base game and then 1 for the DLC, even though this is remastered and they come together. So I don't know how that'll work in terms of like getting the achievement, but we'll figure it out when we figure it out. But here I realized we took the shield off, and Bed of Chaos really needs a shield. So we put that on the 5-mile slide down, which normally I have a little spiel that I do when going into a boss fight, and then I don't talk for the boss, but this is Bed of Chaos. There are certain bosses that I just do not treat as bosses, like Asylum Demon, Ceaseless Discharge, Bed of Chaos. Those 3 come to mind. It's just, they aren't really a boss, and so I'm not going to treat them like a boss. But we exit the game to be plopped right in front of the fog wall, and we don't have to run back to get to the middle while being smacked in the back by Bed of Chaos while the ground is crumbling beneath our feet. And also saves us homeward bones and runs back, which, as long as we don't die, makes for a much, much better strategy. Which, I heard that there's a different strategy that's like, you stand on this one specific brick and then you walk like 7 back, and then you pull out the telescope and you aim in this one specific spot, and then you throw a firebomb, and then you look in this other very specific spot, and you throw another firebomb, and you don't want to do it too fast, but you don't want to do it too slow. Wait, that's... anything that requires precision aiming, like, I'll just play a first-person shooter, alright? I'm not playing Dark Souls to have precision aiming. So I would rather just do this. Even if it takes longer, I'd rather just do this. I don't know. Maybe I'm stubborn. I'm 100% stubborn, but still. But we just continue on. Hopefully don't get one shot at the very end, which has happened, I think, twice. Not fun. But thankfully, didn't happen this time. So, Dark Souls was merciful. Not a super common thing, but we will happily accept it whenever it happens. Just like how we'll happily accept that 60,000 souls and normal spiel that we're not gonna do here because Bed of Chaos isn't a real boss. And then we can move over to our normal, like, just full equipment setup. And then we can leave and head on back to Quelana because she asked us to do this. So we're gonna see what she says. Which, again, these things appear, and notice they appear on that left side, but now they appear on the right side. Like I said, it feels very arbitrary, and just like, just to annoy you, but...
Very well. Thank you. I am blessed to have met you. I suppose I can call you fool no longer. I can hardly thank you enough. Please take this. It is all of me.
Pyromancy, Fire Tempest, and the achievement Bond of a Pyromancer. Which, I thought she was gonna give me like $1 coin. Which, I'm happy with this as well, but have you ever seen a $1 coin? They're really cool. But no more items to purchase, no more weapons to ascend.
I suppose I can call... Thank you.
No more new dialogue.
Ah, very well. There is nothing left for me to teach you. Our time together is done. It was short, but sweet.
Yep.
Fool, I can do nothing more for you.
Which, what'd she say for the first line?
Hurry along.
So, I thought maybe quitting the game would do something. Which, I thought maybe, like, she'd disappear and there'd be, like, an item or something, but nope. She's still just there. And has nothing else to say. Which, kind of sad, but... And I was thinking about killing her, just to see if, like, she dropped anything. But this is my first time doing her quest, and she helped me get an achievement, so we can't disrespect her this early on. But we move on.
Oh, what is it?
And I wanted to see if there was a limit to how many of these we could buy, which apparently not. And no weapons to ascend.
Of lost Quelana, an inhuman witch who wanders the poison swamp. Only no one has ever seen her, so who really knows? But what if she is another of the Quelag sisters? Our fair lady would be greatly comforted by her presence.
I thought that would mean...
Lost Quelana? Oh, but what are...
I thought that would mean that she would appear here. At some point, I tried reloading the game several times. Tried, like, quitting the game, teleporting, all sorts of stuff like that. She didn't. She didn't show up, so... Oh well, moving on. And time to try Fire Tempest. Which, 370. I believe Firestorm did like 301, something like that. And so this has better damage, but it still has that same fundamental issue of you only get one full cast. Which kind of sucks because you have to get a plus 15 Pyromancer Flame maybe more. And you have to spend a lot of souls, I'm assuming. And you have to beat Bed of Chaos. So I thought that maybe it'd be good if, like, it only took 10 instead of 17. Or if you could, like, just, if you could use 2 full casts,
Was it all
that'd be
alive?
nice.
Have I done this all for nothing? Oh, my dear son. What now? What should I do? My son. My dear, dear son.
Well, what you should do is repay me for keeping you alive and not making you go hollow by helping me kill Gwyn, since I've summoned you multiple times already. And Gwyn is weak to parrying, which, because we're using a whip this run, we can't parry. So having you there would help a lot. Not right now, but in like 4 to 8 video hours, that'd be great. Oh, that's a lot of damage. I guess they didn't like that plan. Guess they did not like that plan. But we saw everything we wanted to see. We headed on down back into the boss room. And I thought this was a good place to end it, because we didn't kill the most bosses in the world, but we still killed 3 bosses. We got through over an entire area. We got a ton of Pyromancies. I mean, a ton of Pyromancies. We got an achievement for it. We tested out most of them, kind of saw what we liked and saw what was strong and what was good for the most part. Not entirely, but for the most part. And we got an Ascended Pyromancy Flame +5. We did Laurentius's quest. We did Quelana's quest. We got 5 attunement slots. And now have 3 different Pyromancies instead of just Fireball and maybe Toxic Mist. So, yeah.
Oh, hello. You've been a stranger these days. Why? What's spectacular pyromancy? Tell me about it. I have never seen anything like it.
Of course.
Why, yes, of course. Thank you for sharing. I'm still an able pyromancer. I shall locate her myself. I'm in your debt, once again.
No, not at all, friend. Not at all.
A pyromancer's flame is... the flame.
But nothing
Goodbye
left to
then.
do.
Be safe, friend. Don't you dare go hollow.
Never. But nothing to do with him besides head on down to Blighttown and see how he's doing. So yeah, I lied, there's more. Not much, but there's more. And part of that more is seeing our good friend Laurentius in Blighttown. And I mean, he's hanging out with the mosquitoes. And we really don't like these mosquitoes, so we're just gonna Fire Tempest them. And I saw the 8 damage, and I thought that we had hit him with Fire Tempest and only, like, have it only do 8 damage. Turns out, no, he was just poisoned. Which, that's better. That's a lot better, but he died. I went to go see Quelana. She wasn't there. And so I figured, we got done with this area, so I don't need this bonfire anymore. But I could use the extra healing, so, you know, just cash that in. I'm evil. And, oh, you're still here. I told you back in the Bed of Chaos arena that we're done, video is over, goodbye. Yeah,